Here are the highest paid heads of state in the world. The Australian Prime Minister. Anthony Albanese took office as Prime Minister of Australia in May 2022. His salary is $394,054 per year, or approximately $33,000 per month. But that's not all. Born in Sydney in 1963, he is the leader of the Australian Labor Party, succeeding Scott Morrison. In addition to being the country's leader, he is also a real estate investment expert. He owns several villas, including a magnificent property in Sydney that he rents out for 1,350 Australian dollars per week. This generates an additional annual income of around 70,000 Australian dollars, or nearly $48,000. He also has a residence in Copacabana, Brazil, with ocean views and the opportunity to watch whales from his sofa. The house itself is valued at 4 million Australian dollars. These real estate investments, combined with his salary, place Anthony Albanese among the highest paid heads of state in the world. The President of the United States. Donald Trump, re-elected President of the United States in 2025, receives a gross annual salary of $400,000, making him the fourth highest paid politician in the world. On top of this, he receives a small allowance of $50,000 for personal expenses, a travel account of $100,000, and $19,000 for leisure activities. That's right. And that's not all, because as a tenant of the White House, Trump also has access to some rather flattering perks such as presidential limousine rides, flights on the famous Air Force One, and even the Marine One helicopter. To top it all off, even after his term in office, he will be entitled to an annual pension of $246,424 and free medical care and transportation for life. But with a personal fortune estimated at several $billion, Trump's presidential salary is almost negligible. The President of the Swiss Confederation. Karin Keller-Sutter is the only woman in this ranking. Having been elected as the president of the Swiss Confederation since 2025, she earns an annual salary of more than 500,000 Swiss francs, which is approximately equal to $540,000. As president of the Swiss Confederation, she is the head of the country's executive branch. She heads the Federal Council, which is made up of 7 members, each responsible for a department such as education or health, a regular practice in Europe. Her job is to coordinate the government's actions and represent Switzerland abroad. In 2023, she was among the Financial Times top 25 influential women worldwide, like Beyoncé and Olena Zelenska. She was also praised for her role in the Credit Suisse crisis in March of the same year. Her swift intervention is said to have prevented a banking collapse that would have had disastrous consequences for the Swiss economy. The chief executive of Hong Kong. In the second spot of the highest paid heads of state in the world, we find John Lee, who earns an annual salary of 5,630,000 Hong Kong dollars, or nearly 670,000 US dollars. Unlike traditional Chinese leaders, he governs a territory with special status, as Hong Kong is supposed to be autonomous since its handover from the United Kingdom in 1997. In theory, the city retains its own government and laws. But in practice, Beijing has been tightening its grip, especially since the pro-democracy protests of 2019. John Lee's brutal crackdown on protesters has earned him a controversial international reputation and Western sanctions, particularly from the United States. However, it has also allowed him to gain China's trust. Subsequently, he was chosen by Beijing as the preferred candidate to assume governance after Carrie Lam's expected departure in 2022. This former police officer rose through the ranks to become the second highest paid governor in the world. The Prime Minister of Singapore. At the top of our ranking of the highest paid heads of state is Lee Hsien Loong, the former Prime Minister of Singapore. He held the title for a long time with an impressive annual salary of $1.6 million. His nearly 20 years of leadership enabled Singapore, the richest country in Southeast Asia, to establish itself as a true global economic hub. The son of one of the nation's founding fathers, Lee Hsien Loong has had a brilliant career. He studied at some of the world's most prestigious universities, including Harvard and Cambridge, before coming to power in 2004. But 20 years later, in 2024, Lawrence Wong, former Minister of Health, took up the torch, becoming the world's highest paid statesman. Why are they so well paid, you ask? The high salaries of Singapore's leaders can be explained by the need to attract talent from the private sector to the public sector in order to maintain excellence and reduce the risk of corruption within the government. The irony of it all is that this salary was achieved after a 36% cut in 2012.